evening, everyone. Hello, and it's just great to see you again tonight. Sorry we're late. We should have been on at 7 o'clock. We were actually chatting away at 7 o'clock, which is just here we go again. You can't ever work it out, can you? In showbiz, it's as mad as a box of frogs. Anyway, so without further ado, we're going to carry on. We've got our lovely Emma with us, as always, our talent and star of the screen, the CZ screen. And also, we've got Joel with us as well, and Ellen. So we've been so excited about tonight because it's just been one of those build-ups when, you know, how sort of, you know, starstruck I am. So and I love to go to the West End. I love to go and see any concerts. So does Emma. We quite often break into song in the salon, as you all know. And so what we thought we would do is ask the stars themselves. So Joel, go away. Go away. Right. Tell us all about you. You go away.
Like go away. I was like, all right.
Entertainment.
What about how I started?
Yeah, tell us how you started.
Well, very similar to you, Sal. It was like I started at the Yvonne School of Dancing when I was, which is owned by my auntie and my mum. I trained there as a kid, found out I could sing a little bit, started singing, and then, you know, as a lot of people do, act at school and did a few Amdram things, and then went on to college, and sort of the rest is history, really. It was quite a simple story, but I didn't expect to, but also I had the best upbringing in the sense of I was brought up into it. So looking back, I wasn't really going to do anything else. Really.
You were, and that's right, and I can share a little bit about that as well. You know, that's how we met. Joel and I actually trained at the YSD theatre school as well, right from the age of 3, and I was very fortunate to be asked by your mum when you were a twinkle in the sky to be well, not by your mum actually. I can't even remember who it was by, but we came to do to be a guard of honour at your mum and dad's wedding.
It was probably Yvonne. You were probably told with an iron rod that you better be there. So.
Well, I remember we drove all the way back from our family holiday in Cumbria to do that, and I actually was, you know, it was an honour, an absolute honour.
You stood in a leotard in the freezing cold holding a banner. I mean,
no, holding our ballet shoes by the ribbon.
Still sounds horrendous to me. But we'll go with it. Okay.
And we all had to have our ballet shoes pressed properly and the ribbons and stuff. So.
If you did that to parents now, so they would be like, absolutely not.
There's a lot that parents would say absolutely not about what goes on off the stage than on it. So anyway, so tell us a little bit about who you are, where, you know, the fact that what you do now.
Well, actually, I've got my little T-shirt on, the Show Must Go On T-shirt. It's all to do with, it celebrates the Acting for Others, which is a charity set up for the West End, basically for actors that are out of work, people that work front of house. Obviously, with all this happening, so if obviously if there's anything else to donate to that you feel like you can do, Acting for Others is a lovely charity to donate to. I basically am a West End performer now, which every time I say it is kind of weird, really. It's just been a great learning curve, a whirlwind in one sense, because I've been lucky to jump from show to show, and that doesn't normally happen for a lot of people. And I've been very, very fortunate. So now in lockdown, as it is for myself and for Ellen and for you and Emma, it's just so strange to not be performing to people. Even over a camera is great, but it's still weird. You know, so I long to get back to the point where I can interact with people, you know, like we used to.
Yeah. So thanks, Joel. So Ellen, over to you. I mean, just before, I have to just tell everybody how we met. I actually saw Ellen perform purely by default on Facebook, and was absolutely taken in by the fact that she records a cappella. And those of you that know me well know that I actually love that sort of music, and was just blown away by the fact that she's not only a singer but a musician as well. Ellen, tell us all about your talent. Who you are, what you've done.
Okay, so from a big family, big Irish Catholic sort of family, but basically from the northeast and Newcastle, born in Hexham. But we were all brought up on singing Irish rebel songs, a lot of Irish rebel songs, and there was always music going on in the house, and you know, there was always instruments flying around. But you see, I didn't realise as a youngster, but my grandma, who I'd never met, that's my dad's mother, was actually a professional in the music halls in the 1920s and toured the colonies, singing, acting, no, not acting, singing, dancing. And she was part of a double act, which was also a comic duo. So it's in the genes, I think, definitely. So she was called Flora MacDonald, that was her stage name. And we've got a few photographs. I found one on eBay, actually. I've just typed in her name and her stage partner's name, and up came this postcard, which I had to buy for £14, a postcard of my grandma on a stage in full regalia. And when sure enough, it was my grandma. My dad said, "Yes, that's me mother." Yeah, so we haven't got much memorabilia of her at all. But what I did get was this part of this postcard.
Right. So that's fabulous. So Emma, so you know, everybody knows that when they come in the salon, Emma and I are always breaking into song, whether it's anything from Annie with Miss Hannigan, or we don't quite often have gin in our vase of flowers, but we have water. But we quite often break into song, and it can be from Mamma Mia, and that was something that brought me into, attracted me to your repertoire, Ellen, was the fact that you sang Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes. Everybody sway. and I thought, oh, I quite like this. So and that late, you know, I then started following you, then started stalking you, and then we were chatting, weren't we? So so you know, Emma, tell us about your talent, because this week's all about talent. We've got some great talent coming up tomorrow as well. So what was your talent your hidden talent, Emma? You've got many talents.
Well, actually, Molly said that I have a talent yesterday. I had to park in the most tiniest space, and she's like, "Mum, don't even attempt it." I said, "I can do it." Yeah. And I did it. And she's like, "Mum, you're just a Wonder Woman." I'm like,
thank you. And then you ripped off your t-shirt and there was Wonder Woman, like, straight across. Like,
my car.
Yeah. Emma gets that car into every nook and cranny.
Is it a smart car, Emma? I think it might be a smart car, is it?
Not a smart car, but it's a small car.
But it's got an engine of a
Ferrari.
But you know, Joel, I'm going to let you into a little secret here. You know, behind the theatre at Crewe, which is where, you know, obviously you do your performing, as well as the West End, when you direct your own shows and things like that, choreograph, produce. Do you know the secret little car park behind the theatre where we used to get quick changes in the vans?
Yeah.
That's our secret hidey hole car park. No one ever parks there, and we've never been clamped yet. So just to let you in and into that one.
Here's a cheeky one. I mean, that talking about when you used to dress in the vans, that's completely illegal now.
Is
like
it?
the amount of things that have changed, you can't do that now because of health and safety and all this, and it's crazy because I think sometimes things like that were part of the fun of it. Like, it was freezing cold and you didn't have to run into a van, and it was crazy to think, but it's a shame you kind of can't do those things. I mean, I get why, but it is a shame that you can't do stuff like that anymore.
So the talents going on, in, you know, like I say, in the theatre, there's so much going on off the stage as well as on it. And you know, as well as you, Joel, I'm going to name drop a bit here, but you know, I've been very fortunate to have been invited to dance with people like Frank Carson, the late Frank Carson, and I've got some funny stories with him, you know, and his wife runs in the green room with a glass of brandy, and then, oh my gosh, some of the funny things that we danced Danny around him, dancing Danny Boy. He sang to Danny Boy, and we were cavorting around him. And and then the next minute, you see him with his great big belly in his white fronts, and you're just thinking, oh my God, you know, that just would not happen anymore, would it?
No, not at all. And I mean, you know, I understand why, but it kind of puts pressure on you, because even as that, you know, when you're a theatrical person, you're used to running off stage and just getting undressed if you've got a quick change. Like, who cares? Because it's too quick for you to even think of who's watching me. You're just like, oh, for God's sake, get the clothes on, get on stage. Like,
you don't have time. Yeah, no, I agree.
You can't do that now. There's so many rulings. You have to black certain things off, and it's a bit crazy actually, because within the amount of time, you know, especially when you're talking about stage crew or whoever's there looking, you're like, the amount of time that they've got to stand there and look at someone getting changed is unbelievable. Like, it doesn't happen. It just they don't have time to do it. So obviously the rulings with kids and stuff is like, I mean, I do think it's funny. We were talking before about sort of a little bit of sexism in one sense, and like how they sort of, I have a big problem when I chaperone, you know, as a male, because I had an argument with a council member who basically found it difficult that I could chaperone girls, but that women could chaperone boys. Didn't have a problem with it. And I understand why, but then the same token, it's an individual, and, you know, it's so weird. The world is so weird in the way that it thinks sometimes, and, you know, but I understand it, because I understand arguments and think previous cases that have happened, but not everyone is the same,
No,
you know.
No.
So to be tarnished with the same brush when you've grown up in a dancing school for years and you spent your whole entire life watching girls change from the age of 2 to the age of 33, it's like, I'm pretty much okay with it. Like, I'm used to it now. It's not something I go searching for. So, you know.
Now, what's interesting as well is this week we are obviously talking about talent, and I think that obviously, you know, when you're watching us tonight, whether you're watching this live, which we hope you are, send us a wave or a love or a care or anything that you want to send, a laugh, laughing face, all these emojis that you can fly away at us and let us know where you're watching from. We want to ask you, because you've been supporting us all the way through our little chat shows, who would you have for dinner out of the theatrical world, or anyone that's famous? Who would you invite for dinner? Emma, who would you invite for if you had dinner at your house, who would you invite that was famous?
Well, like I said earlier, it would still be the same people. Mike Tyson or Tyson Fury, but I wouldn't cook for them because I'd probably poison them. So I'd get away. I'm very good at cooking.
When you see some of Tyson Fury's things that go on in his world, I don't think he would bother anyway. I just think they're great. The family is just great. And I believe they're our neighbours now where we live.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not far away from us. Maybe we should have invited him on the show.
You probably could have, though.
I know, you probably would. But anyway, so what about you, Ellen? Who would you have?
Steve Coogan, please. Thank you.
I think Steve Coogan. Just on his own?
Yes, please. That would be lovely.
and what would you entertain him with?
Well, definitely I'd cook for him, and I'm hopefully my singing would entertain him, and my charm and wit. And
which is your favourite instrument?
Piano, without a doubt. Yeah. Singing without a doubt, but piano as in So I'd sing and play the piano for him, and hopefully he would love it.
Oh, bless you. So, Joel, who would you have?
Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, definitely. So they can both just sing at me for the rest of the night. Then I'd probably go Golden Age, MGM, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire. Or, I mean, I'd have all of them. I'm not going to lie. But one person I did forget before would be Walt Disney.
Oh, yes.
I'd love to sit with Walt Disney and just kind of... I've always thought what would be amazing is, imagine if he was alive now and he could see what had happened to his empire and how it's like that's unbelievable to think that it all started so small as a cartoon and it's grown into this humongous. To have that must be unbelievable. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and you know, I don't know about you, but whenever you ask anybody what they think of Disney, whether they've been or not, they'll always. What I mean, if someone says to you about Walt Disney, what's your immediate reaction?
For me,
Joel, yeah,
just pure happiness. But I'm a big kid, so anyone that kind of says that they don't like Disney,
we all are.
I never really. I understand if people don't, if it's not their thing. But when someone says that they don't like it, I'm a little bit like, well, then you've obviously never really experienced things. Because I always think there's something for everyone in Disney. I think it's a weird thing about Disney. There's always something, whether it's theatrical or the parks or the films or, you know, something.
Who's your favourite? What do you think if someone says Disney to you, Emma? What do you immediately think?
Well, it just reminds me of when my kids were little, go to the cinema and having as much of a laugh at some of the Disney films because they were deliberately putting in adult humour in there as well, alongside children's entertainment. And to be honest, it was gripping, you know. And I miss the fact that my kids are now grown up, so I've got no one to watch them with. But
I'll come with you, Ellen.
Oh, thanks, Joel.
I'll come with you.
Yeah, let's all go together.
Yeah, Disney trip. Come with, big Disney trip.
Emma? What's yours? What's your immediate reaction?
I love all Disney films. Just anything. I just love them all.
I can remember going on a trip to Disney. My very, very first trip, which again was an honour, was with YSD, with the theatre school, and it was just so magical, the whole experience, you know. And I do think you're right about, you know, Walt Disney. He would be great.
I think it's very rare that someone is set out for a plan as a business and they've achieved it in a full form. Like, he wanted to create somewhere for families. He did that, like, tenfold. So I would always wonder what it'd be like of going, what do you think of it now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, that's right. So again, let us know if you're watching on record or live. Just let us know who you would invite for dinner. What would you cook for them? I think that would be really quite interesting.
Take out.
Would you ever take out?
Absolutely take out. Choose what you want.
We've still got to have a bake-off in the salon. We've been challenged to a bake-off.
Oh, wow.
Ages ago, because Emma and I just burn everything. Just do, and that's just awful. Right. So, but just going back to Walt Disney, there's just something that's just come to me then while we're just thinking about it. You know, has anybody ever been to Prague?
Yes.
No.
No, well, the architecture in Prague is very much like, I don't know whether there's any evidence or any inspiration, but I don't know whether Walt Disney had, Switzerland or anything around Austria and all the architecture. Yeah. When you go to Disney and you see, the Magic Kingdom, the castle is very Prague-y, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
they're all very European-based. Very European-based, yeah. But it's funny because you're talking about talent, and that's like another string, like, of creativity. He was just a creative genius, and that was his talent. His talent was to see things that we couldn't see. Yeah. And I just think that's unbelievable that someone can do that,
Absolutely. So, Joel, tell us what you've got coming up in terms of, your theatre school.
All right. I thought you were going to say me, and I was like, the West End's closed.
Look forward to after lockdown. What are your plans? Hey.
I was like, work-wise, I've got nothing.
I know. But hang on a minute. I've been sharing your tap class lives on a Tuesday afternoon where I'm also a Hermes driver.
I know a Hermes driver at the moment. So if you get a parcel from me, there you are. I mean, I have the company to keep me going, and obviously the dancing school, the company at the moment are kind of a bit of a hiatus, the same as everyone is. But we're going back into rehearsals, hopefully, for We Will Rock You. And We Will Rock You is now deferred from this November to next September because of coronavirus. But we are doing, in March 2021, touch wood, if it still goes ahead, we are doing Shrek, and I will be playing Shrek. So
Really?
Woo!
I'll be playing Shrek.
Can I
So
have a donor?
yeah, if you want, come
Yeah.
along. Come on.
Oh, gosh.
Can I be Eeyore?
Come. Eeyore's not in it. Eeyore's not in it. But
Donkey.
Donkey. I was like, Eeyore's definitely not in it, Emma. Yeah.
Donkey is.
No, I am. Obviously, work permitting, my aim is to play the title role, because I've not done a show with the company since 2012. So when we got Shrek, I was like, listen, I'll get the green mask and, well, just paint it on my face essentially, and then walk on stage. So yeah, so that's quite exciting. It's the first one I would have done in a while with them. So yeah.
Will it be face paint, or will you wear a mask?
No, it's protect. Well, funnily enough, this is from what we were talking about before. This is another element, isn't it? Because they've done it in various ways, and obviously prosthetics can cost a lot of money and also take a lot of time. I'm definitely going to have my face cast done, but there's a couple of ways. Sometimes they have prosthetic pieces that make him, and then the mics are built. If you watch the Broadway show, it's very clever. The mics are built into his cheeks. So as his cheeks are puffed out, you see two little tiny dots, and there is mics. It's really clever. But then I think on the tour, they painted here, put a prosthetic nose, and then had kind of like a half and a half. So from here was skin with green paint, and then they had the nose. It was kind of like latched on. So there's a couple of different ways that we're looking at to do it. But it's going to be professionally made, because obviously, you know, you can't just have it shoddily done, because it will just look horrendous, as you all know. It will just look awful. So, but yeah, it's exciting.
It's just reminded me of Mrs. Doubtfire, you know, with the fat suit. And
Yeah.
Is it a little bit like that? Do you have to have your face?
Yeah, well, originally, when it was in the West End, Nigel Lindsay that played it, and Dean, who's my friend who took over, they had to be in the chair 2 hours before curtain up every night. It was a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I think it took them like 20 minutes to half an hour to take off, but like 2 hours to put on. So it's unbelievable, really. But amazing. I mean, what an amazing experience to play a legendary character. Like, and I'm going to be able to hopefully do that for a week in March if it goes ahead. So just tell us briefly which. I mean, obviously, a lot of our clients that come through the salon, you know, we always talk about the theatre and what you're putting on, and you know. What night they're going to see the shows and things like that, what they're looking forward to. Tell us, I mean, I come and see everything that you do. I just love it. And the difference that you've made over the years is just incredible. Tell us some of the favourite shows that you've put on at the Lyceum. God, there's loads.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, with Curtain Call, with my company, I mean, the company's been going 10 years this year. And I think the first show we did was Beating the Beast.
Yeah.
And I played the Beast in that one, that was the sort of first one, and that was a big thing. But I definitely think the pinnacle was Chitty. I mean, it wasn't my favourite to put on personally, but I think the impact that it had. I don't think that anyone in Crewe and Nantwich would have ever pictured a 14-foot flying car on stage, and they saw it. So to kind of see that and the audience applaud, and it's just really, this is why theatre, and not just theatre, but live performance is such a special thing to have. You can't recreate it. And Ellen will tell you that as a musician. You cannot recreate the feeling of what it's like to perform live. It's a different world, and people that don't do it will never understand it. So yeah, probably Chitty was the big one that made me go, wow, this was epic. I mean, a 14-foot flying car, 2 dogs.
And Ellen, what sort of? I mean, what are your favourite musicals that? What's your favourite genre then? Do you?
Well, I haven't got one. I'm just thinking about what I've been doing during lockdown, and kind of like being a one-woman band. Has been an amazing experience, because normally I would, be in a band with other people and they would all be playing, but because of distancing and isolation, I had to do it all myself, and in a way I've been really surprised at just how wonderful it's been an experience. And I love being with other people, but for once I've just had myself, and I've had to be really resourceful and creative. And so I've drawn on loads of genres that I've learned over the years, particularly starting off with the stuff my parents taught me, with the Irish rebel songs and folk songs that they loved, going through the classical stuff, and also, you know, choir music and a cappella stuff. So I've arranged all the songs that I've done, which are all songs that other people have written, but I've arranged them all specifically for me, one woman band, which I've loved, because it's been I've been very sort of self-sufficient, and it's been a real challenge, and the people that have been listening, they say it's helped them through lockdown, and I'm thinking, well, you've helped me as much as I've helped you. And it's been a really big success.
And how many songs have you how many have you
I've done
recorded now?
Up to date, I've done 80 songs during
Wow.
lockdown.
And so where are you going to invite us to? Where can we come and watch you? Because we have put something on our Facebook page, but everybody knows that Em and I, we all sing in the salon. Kate never stops singing, does she? So where are we sending our clients to watch you?
Oh, well, my day job is I'm a primary school teacher, so that's one string to
Oh, that would be ace. I'd love you to be a primary school teacher for us.
So you can all come to my lessons. And secondly, the other thing is that all the fans, as it were, all the wonderful people who have been listening, are saying, make a CD. Well, I've made a lot of CDs, but not of just me on my own before. So I'm gonna hit the studio and do everything myself.
Yes.
Which will be really good fun. And send that out to people who would like to buy it. Give them
Emma, should we put a request in to Ellen?
Yes, I think
maybe we'll have a think about it and contact you, Ellen.
Well,
I did actually send you a request, didn't I, a couple of weeks ago? I don't know if you when I first started talking to you.
Did you?
The Rhythm of Life.
Oh yes, it's on my list. It's on my extensive list of requests.
Do you feel the rhythm
of life? Do you feel a powerful beat? Do you feel the rhythm in your fingers? Do you feel the rhythm in your feet? Oh, I love it. Love it.
Oh,
brilliant.
Your mum, Joel, we did that at the theatre years
I know.
ago.
I've heard that song so many times.
Oh, I just absolutely love it, and I think we should challenge you, Ellen.
That opening. Da, 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 da,
I love it.
Like,
do
you know what? It's amazing because there's certain pieces of music that are timeless, and Rhythm of Life is exactly one of them. It's kind of like, most of Judy Garland or Sinatra songs are always timeless because, whenever you hear them, you always they're just great songs, aren't they? Yeah.
You know what, as well, a real strange sort of synchronicity, if you like, when obviously I was quite young when we sang that, when we did it in Showtime, but it was the part of the Flippy Wings and Flighty Daddy that was really quite poignant to me, because my father lived in Australia and I hadn't seen him for a long, long time. It was very sad, and because we couldn't communicate like you can now with FaceTime and WhatsApp and everything. And so the only time I ever heard from him was when he sent an airmail, which took 7 days to be delivered by flight, and I missed him so much, and he's my late father now, and I used to think, maybe I could flap my wings and fly to my dad one day.
Oh.
Yeah, I get that.
It's really weird, isn't it, how these things, you grow up with these sadness as well as.
But it's music.
This is what we've been doing with our little chat shows.
It's music and lyrics. Music and lyrics, I think, are the most powerful thing in the world. I genuinely do. Music connects you on a different level to anything else. And I tell you what, one thing kind of does get my goat a little bit with musical theatre is people just go, I don't get why they break into song. And it's like, because it's another way of elaborating an emotion. And that's why musicals were created. They were, you know, getting drama and music, so getting, you know, the live music that Ellen sort of does as her main domain, and then like pure drama, and shoving them both together and just saying we can create a masterpiece out of these two skills. So you know, music is I think it's the most powerful thing in the world. You know?
It is. I mean, the people who've been commenting on my songs, it's all the stories that the songs are reminded of their parents singing to them when they went to sleep, or their grandparents singing to them in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon, tea time. All these stories that are linked to emotion, to music. And that's what music has, that power to create within you, that emotion. It transports you back to where you were when you first heard it or sang it or whatever. And that's a powerful thing.
There's also something about Ellen's type of music with that Irish Catholic heritage as well. There's something about that type of music in particular that definitely that folk genre
linked to a culture and a community.
Yeah, it reminds you of home and reminds you of warmth, and it's brilliant. It's the most powerful thing in the world.
Yeah, you could definitely see the Irish in your skin and your hair, Ellen. I've just got to call you Ellen. Which leads me on to saying that we've got to finish now. We could talk all night. We have been talking all night.
We haven't talking
all night.
Showbiz world. Anyway, so in a few, not next week, the week after, we're inviting Ellen back because we're doing a ginger.
Oh, yes.
All things ginger. She's a Geordie ginger.
Geordie ginger.
We've got a recording producer coming on with us, which is he's just a great friend and a great guy, and I can't wait to sort of invite you back to chat with him. But you know, it's been a real pleasure being on our little Really Real Housewives of Cheshire chat show. So thank you, Emma. I'll see you at 10 in the morning, Emma, because we've got another guest on tomorrow at 10 for coffee, and then we've got our Friday feeling at 3 p.m. I don't know why we're doing 2 on a Friday, but it was
good for you.
It's just what happened, and it was what people wanted, and so that's what we're doing. So thank you very much again, and we hope that you'll come back and join us before we go back to work, and indeed before you do as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, great. Thank you very much. Have a great night, and night everybody.
Bye.
Bye. See you folks.